Do you remember when fast food used to be a cheap, satisfying, just super fun meal that everybody could afford? When you were a kid, you would beg your parents to go take you to McDonald's. You know, there'd be video games like PS1, and there'd be like slides, and it was just awesome. Maybe you'd even ask your parents to have your birthday party at McDonald's. That's how committed some of this love for fast food was. Now let's take away the fun and the color and the funkiness and the cheap prices, all this stuff that made it great, and let's take those same buildings and let's turn them gray. Let's make them look like a dental office. Now, if I was sitting on the board of these fast foods and I had to describe what they are like now: brown, gray, white, sterile, cold, uncomfortable, dental office. Yeah, that's what they all look like now. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. They literally squeezed all the fun out of it. Let's talk about the major draw of fast food in the first place. It was cheap, it was filling, it was fun, it was fast food. You knew it was bad for you. Everybody would talk about how bad it was for you. But it was great. You didn't care because it was cheap. You know, for maybe like $5, you could get a burger and a bunch of other stuff. It was great. Fast food it's not cheap anymore, so the number one draw of it is like pretty much gone. I actually can't really think of a fast food restaurant that has great value anymore. Maybe like In-N-Out or something. I still feel like the value proposition may be there, but at least the major ones that we think about when we think of fast food, like McDonald's and Taco Bell and stuff like that, they're pretty expensive now. So honestly, the prices are so close. The other day, actually, I went to Outback, which Outback is supposed to be like a sit-down chain, and they have like this 3 for me kind of deal where you get a super salad, an entree, and a cheesecake for, I believe, $15. And if you look at places like that, it's more of a value proposition than McDonald's, for example, where you'd get a combo. If you got a combo with fries and a drink, it'd probably be like $13. And if you bought anything else additional, you'd be at like $20. So the value proposition of fast food just like really isn't there anymore. There are better value propositions for sure. Particularly if you look at those like second tier chains, like those sit down kind of things like Outback and Chili's and stuff, there are deals on there that are like just factually better than fast food. Even if we didn't talk about fast food, if we talked about things like Cava and Chipotle, they offer a better value proposition and just better food overall, like food quality and just food. So the number one issue is cost. I think for the cost of like what you're getting, and the value proposition is no longer there. So that's just number one, and that's the biggest selling point and the biggest reason that people went to fast food in the first place. The other issue is just corporate pricing. Just price increases like along the board lately. This is an issue with McDonald's, and I can't necessarily prove this, but I'm pretty sure that they've added more sugar or something to their bread and different things, because I can eat like 2,000 calories worth of McDonald's, but I do not feel full. And I think that's probably because they put high amounts of sugar and fats and things that increase the caloric content of the food, but they are not filling at all. So you're getting a product that doesn't even make you feel full for a high price. There's also all sorts of shrinkflation that has happened. Things like, I can't necessarily confirm that they're doing this, but it feels like they are using lower quality products all across the board, but particularly the meat. Feels like I've been getting a lot of cartilage, bones, and different things from meat at restaurants lately, and I think that's because they are just opting to use cheaper cuts for pricing reasons. Obviously, if you buy cheaper meat, it'll cost the restaurant less. Along with like the value menus that are not really value menus anymore, because you're not gonna get one item, because you're not gonna be full off of one item. So they're like, I think the only one that's offering like a decent deal is maybe Wendy's, that still has like I believe it's 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 or something. Or no, it used to be the 4 for 5, but now I don't know what they call it now, but I think that they still have a decent value proposition. But everybody else, it's like, and I know some of the fast food tryhards will be like, well, use the app. And it's like, okay, yes, you can use the app, but first of all, the deals fluctuate, so you don't always get a good deal. And secondly, it doesn't delete the fact that not everybody uses the app. Like, you just go to the store. So if you have to use the app in order for the prices to be good, it's like, it's just weird, okay? Like, it's corporate manipulation, because they know that people aren't going to use the app, and they know that people are just going to drive through and try to get a McMuffin. Oh my god, one of the most egregious ones is like McMuffins. Like, it is so expensive to just get a breakfast sandwich at McDonald's. It's like, it's crazy. They play a lot of menu tricks. They play a lot of like just knowing that if they put deals on the app, like most people are not going to do that, and just across the board. across the board, just random greed and everything. Though the McDonald's CEO actually did just come out and say that they do have to lower their prices because people are stopping buying because they're doing a bunch of trickster stuff. So, I mean, people are eventually going to catch on and just be like, I'm not going there anymore. It's just kind of how I feel about it right now, is like, I just haven't been there in a long time because it's expensive. And like I said, I'll have like 2,000 calories worth of food and I like generally don't feel full. And I'm not a very big person, like generally a small human, so I should feel full after eating 2,000 calories. A lot of issues across the board too with franchisees and quality control and stuff, and they try to generally keep things pretty controlled, but still you just have so many different owners and stuff. And I read a thing one time that a lot of these restaurants consider themselves real estate companies first before the food, and it's because like a McDonald's will typically be in like a prime location. If you think about it, like it's prime real estate that they could sell later. Yeah, it's just not even about the food. Like, they don't really care if people are satisfied with the product like that. They're just trying to look at their bottom line and try to increase their bottom line in whatever which way they can do that. You know, despite there being inflation and the cost of living just going crazy and nobody being able to afford anything, somehow these restaurants have all increased their margin. This is due to a multitude of things. They'll blame inflation and say that that's why they raised their prices, but really that's of course there's some level of inflation that has affected them, but there's not really like an inherent reason that prices needed to double in the past 5 years. Like, I would understand some level of increase. I get it. It's definitely costing you more, and perhaps like salaries are costing you more and the real estate is costing you more. But even with that, like accounting for all of that, it still feels like they raised prices like even above what they truly needed to do in order to improve their bottom line. So they've, in every single aspect, like anything that you can think of, these places have done. Like, add more sugar to the bread, so we have to use less flour. Sugar's cheaper. Let's use crappier cuts of meat because it's cheaper. Let's increase the prices. Maybe put some deals on the app. Like, just all sorts of trickery. Any trickery that they can come up with, they will come up with. And I understand. Okay, it's a corporation. They try to make money. Fine. But as a consumer, like, eventually we're just going to like not want to put up with it anymore. Yeah, I mean, the original value proposition of fast food being cheap and fast is no longer there, so that's the main appeal. And I think eventually it will bite them in the butt a little bit, because people will opt for places like Cava and Chipotle over going to get McDonald's and be one day closer to heart disease. I think that prices won't go down until they start seeing the pain, meaning like people just stop going there. So for example, they'll probably start by just introducing more like deals, but they're not really deals. They're probably just what the item should have costed in the first place, and without the greed part. So there'll probably be more of that. And you can see this with like the McDonald's CEO and stuff, and based on like what he's saying. And I think that trend will continue, so that's kind of exciting, but we'll see. I think that after the pandemic, a lot of people kind of took advantage of that and did all sorts of stuff, so we'll see what happens. But it's like definitely, like aside from the food, it's just like the fun factor is gone. Like, why is everybody trying to go after like dentist core? I get like, if I'm gonna get my molar removed, I want like a sterile, clean looking place. But if I'm just getting some chicken nuggets and like burgers, like I don't know why it can't be like a little bit more inviting and fun. Like, it doesn't have to be like a dental office. What is up with that? That is like, I mean, I know that the reason is there's some sort of, I think one of the reasons I read one time was that it's for the real estate reason that I had brought up earlier. So they want to have the ability to sell and rebrand into something else if they want to get rid of that location. And so it makes sense. It makes sense why they do it. But as a consumer, that just sucks. Like, everything is just, I don't know. It feels like just stuff used to be a little bit funner, and not that they weren't making money before, they were, but I don't know why we have gotten to this point where everything has to be so like corporate and sterile. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that.